What did you ride Holeshot?
One of them.
Oh, just one of them. So I think you rode 85. So there was an 84. Do you remember? Did you not even go to 84?
I can't remember if I went to 84 or not. I know I definitely rode one of them because I remember there was a situation, same thing, competitions just were not my thing, where we had a practice area. And so we're practicing on the quarter pipes and they were like, all right, this is okay. And then at the competition, we got no time on the competitions course. And I went up and I think I was getting pretty high in practice. I mean, maybe like 7 feet. And I went up to my first air on the quarter pipe, and I was like, I'm not going to go super high because I want to just make sure. And it pushed me out. I landed, halfway down the transition, handlebars, and all the way forwards. And I remember trying to pull them back, and I couldn't pull them back. So I did my whole run with the handlebars, like Chicago style. So once again, it was just like pointless for me, So another miserable competition story for me. But I thought it was cool because it was a big event, and it was it showcased BMX. And I don't know if it was on TV or not, but it got quite a bit of exposure in the magazines.
Yeah, I think that the one you're on about is 85. I think my friend's got some photos of you there. Yeah, so it's the same as what Eric said. Eric said he got the practice quarters figured out, and then he did a worse version of what you did. He said,
yeah, just totally slammed. Yeah, I think he went into the crowd.
Yeah,
and it was, and then later on, I don't know if this is true or not, but later on we heard that Hawkins, all the Hawkins crew, was able to ride the ramps, the good ramps, so they were like dialed in, and so we go out there and we're just making fools of ourselves trying to get used to this ramp in 45 seconds and trying to compete, which was ridiculous. So we had serious disadvantage. I don't know if that was true or not, but I there was a rumor that those guys got to ride the ramps, and I think that was also I don't know if it was that Holeshot, but there was a rumor that went around because I think Craig, I don't mean to bag on you, Craig, but it was circumstantial. I think he just got back from this King of Skate Parks in California, and he was used to that vert, and so they actually cranked the vert on the quarter pipes at some of the competitions so that he could ride it back. I don't know if that's true. That was a rumor, but it certainly felt like it. Like it felt like when we went up to air on these quarter pipes, it's like, what is this vert? Like it's just, I can't ride this. It's ridiculous.
That's what Eric said as well. He said the same thing.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe there did some truth to it. Yeah. Must be true.
So when did you build your own quarter pipe in your backyard?
Gosh, I mean, there was a whole series of ramps that were built in the backyard, and I've got pictures of the very first quarter pipe. It was against a tree. Same thing, like fridge, couple of doors. So I think I built that right around maybe, it was maybe about 6 months after the Track in the Woods article came out.
All right.
Because that ramp was getting destroyed all the time and people were vandalizing it. So I was like, fuck this, I've got a big backyard. I'm just going to, I had to go around a corner, but I had this downhill runway and I just built this quarter pipe against the tree. So it was a dirt, like mud run up to a quarter pipe. And we just started practicing there. And then I put more and more energy into that. And then eventually we moved the quarter pipe from the side because you had to go around a corner to straight on. So now you had a straight run at it downhill. And that's when we had a better transition. Still not vert, but it was close. And that's when we started getting much, much higher airs on the quarter pipe. Yeah. And then later on we went to a half pipe. But there was a lot of evolutions of quarter pipes that happened in that backyard.
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, that picture you sent me is with a no help, like what you're saying. There's your vision of what you think of what it should be for me as well. Yeah. And then there's your sports center full uniform white suit vision. Yeah. And you I couldn't believe that I'd never seen a photo like that before. Of you just blasting that air, like no helmet, just like nothing, just a backyard quarter pipe. You see holes in the quarter, like so good, man. I love that picture. That's fucking great. Who took that?
I don't know. Maybe my dad. I don't know. My dad was a good photographer. I think it was my dad, or maybe my mate. There was another guy who was part of our Highgate crew named Bun, who was a really good street rider. And I think maybe he took it. But there's actually a really great photograph that somebody took, and I think it was I don't know, maybe Joe Burlow. It was later on. He took a picture from the back of the ramp, and you could actually see what was holding it up and how dodgy this ramp was and how much the ramp shook when we rode it. And you'd air on it and land and something would break, be like, oh, whatever, And we had, it was a mud runway to it, but in the wintertime we put planks down because it was too muddy, because you'd you'd hit the wood and your wheels were still wet, so you just slide out. So we had about 30 feet maybe of the runway was just like plywood, just laying on top of each other, just so our wheels would dry out, so you could actually air.
Yeah. Oh, dangerous shit, man.
Dodgy stuff.
And then like Nick Phillip was riding that quarter pipe as well, I would take it.
Yeah.
And he had his own quarter pipe as well, Eric was saying.
Yeah, he had an amazing setup. I think his one was a bit later because it was actually his one was really well made, and I think there was actually maybe an article in BMX Action that showed how to make a proper, like how to actually make the transition. Because prior to that, it was just like, oh yeah, this looks about right. Let's make it more vert, and then they actually had like you would cut the plywood, with a circular saw, and so Nick's ramp was a proper quarter pipe. But it was also dodgy because I think it was about 5 feet wide because it was down the side of his garden. And we had once we started airing on, we realized we couldn't get the speed. So we built like a drop-in ramp that was about 5 feet high. So you rode along that, you dropped in, and then you pedaled down the side of this alleyway that was just not wide enough for your handlebars. And then you'd air and you come off of it. And if you didn't come off perfect, you were either into the house that was brick and steel drain pipes, or on this side there was a fence that you would like hit the handlebars and it would just like toss you, into the fence. You just get jacked. But what was cool about that quarter pipe, I think it was about 6.5 feet tall. There was a bush behind it, and then there was the road. It was Muswell Hill Road right there. So the buses would come up, and the people on the second floor were looking straight. And we would air and look straight at them and like point at them, on the bus, and they'd be like, "What the fuck?" So we always timed it like, "Oh, there's a bus coming, let's go," and try and air, and people would flip out, and people would stop in the streets and watch. And I think there was a car crash once, like someone had stopped and looked up, and someone hit him. I don't know, but I remember there was a couple of times. Yeah, it wasn't good, but that was a cool scene too. Like Nick's house was just mad, It's just